Forgive me, I keep on messing up your name every time we do this. Adeoti. Adeoti. Is that right? Adeoti. I knew I'd get it eventually. Okay. So
we find you.
I try my best. I've been practicing. You were born and raised where?
In Lagos.
In Lagos or outside of Lagos? Because I have a picture up here. You're just on the coast, isn't it? The coastline.
Yes, the coastline.
Okay. And so basically you were born and raised in that area itself, right? I remember you telling me, just give me a brief bio. And unfortunately you lost your father at a very young age. How old were you when you lost your father?
I was about 12 or 13.
Okay. So how many children are in your family?
We're 5.
Children? 12?
5.
5, sorry.
But I am all together because, it's a polygamous home. So all together we're about 13. But my mother were just 5.
Ah, okay. And so tell me a little bit, there was a period of time when you left home and you moved in to live with your auntie. Is that correct?
Yes, very correct. I had to go, because my mom I couldn't just, she wasn't the one that asked me to leave, but I just couldn't bear to see her go through the pains of trying to raise us, feeding and everything was so difficult. So I had to go live with my auntie. She actually volunteered to help raise me, especially with my educations and all of that. So I happened to stay with her. She did the best that she could. But, from the beginning, I've always been a very tough child, a very tough child. So I know I'm also very difficult to raise. So many things happen along the line. So I have to just leave. Then I go back to my father's house. I started living alone.
Your father's house was in a state called Kwara. Is it Kwara?
Kwara State. Yes.
Okay.
It's Kwara State.
You lived alone for a period of time. So what age were you then?
I live alone for about 4 years.
Okay.
Because
4 years.
I had to complete my secondary. Yes, because I had to complete my secondary education. So as I live alone there, most of the time my mom sent me foodstuffs from Lagos and all of that. But in most cases, I had to work, to sustain myself. So many things that I would need. I know my mom is also struggling in Lagos. So what I do sometimes is I help people on the farm. I go about, I fetch firewood to just support myself. Sometimes there is this the cashew nuts, the seed. I had to sometimes I pick. Then we have people come to the village to buy them and all of that. And anytime we are on holiday, I travel to Lagos, stay with my mom. Then I go.
Did you have problems from the authorities? Like, would the authorities arrest you for hawking on the streets?
Of course, a lot of time. So many times my goods get confiscated. Sometimes when I'm trying to escape from the authority, I lose most of it. You have to throw it away and just escape for your life because, escaping is much more better than getting caught because if you're caught, you have to pay. They might end up collecting every sales that you had from the start of that day. And most of the time we don't even have money to buy these things. We collect it from those who sell. Then after selling, we return, we take our profit and return the money to them. It was really very tough. Sorry, the situation was very tough because and then we have this what they call operation, something that they don't just want to see us and they go slow. They believe most of those in the traffic were thieves or kind of pickpockets and all of that. So in most cases, we lose our goods, we lose the money while trying to escape. And it wasn't really funny because you had to find a way to sort the money to pay for the goods and get another one. So it was a very tough situation.
So, you know, there's no age limit to hawking in Lagos. Like you see people, you were saying the age of some.
Back then, there is no regulation. There wasn't any kind of regulation. And I don't think there is now too. Everybody, as long as you can just survive it, you just go there. And, it's the easiest way to survival because those in traffic, those who are ahead in traffic, will just need to eat something, drink something, and all. So that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. And so I didn't know what the term meant, and you were younger to do it as well, which would have exposed you to all sorts, of human beings. And what I found really, and it must have been extremely tough because not only you're navigating your way through traffic, but also you would be exposed to, all sorts of stuff, including crime on the streets and stuff like that. So that wasn't easy.
And also abuse.
Yeah. Because I'd read parts of the story of particularly younger girls, because I had to understand what girl child meant. I didn't understand what girl child meant. And apparently girl child, there was a piece written in a paper, I think it was called The Guardian Woman. And it talks about the girl child, or how hard it is on young women in Nigeria, and particularly those exposed that have to go out and earn some kind of living somehow. And it went into graphic detail about how some of those women were treated and stuff. And it's, we're so blessed and privileged here in the West that it's expected that your children go to school, and it's expected that your children are safe when they go outside. But you have none of those guarantees as a child when you were growing up. You were on your own pretty much from a young age. That must have been super hard for you.
Very hard, very hard. Education was the topmost priority that I have as a child. Mm-hmm. So despite all the horrors that surrounds my not getting an education, I had to do everything humanly possible. Because I just felt if I don't have education, what else? What can I have? What else can I do? So because getting an education is one of the most difficult things in this country, in Nigeria today. And it was in the past, and it is up to this moment. And it is so sad because when you look at some of the people that are at the top today, they benefited from free education. Now, everyone that is coming behind them had to suffer to get an education. It is a very tough situation. It is something that you would not wish for your worst enemy, especially for those of us who come from an underprivileged homes. It is very tough.
Well, the greatest gift you can give your kids.
Sorry, I had to be like.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I know this is hard as well. I know this is hard. You said after secondary school, after you got certification, you went back to Lagos to live with your mom. But you left home again. You left home again. Because you couldn't stand. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I couldn't just watch her, labor to survive on her own and try to take care of me. So I had to leave home. I was living with some friends, and after a while we have an issue, and I had to leave. Then I met some other friends, and I had to sleep in an abandoned boat, in an abandoned ship. It was a ship at the marina jetty. And the place is better now than it was back then. I had to stay in that ship, I think, for like 18 to 20 months. I was staying there. And you know that this ship, the ladder was at the other side. So they have this swing kind of ladders that is joined together with a rope. That is how we climb the ship. So sometimes when you are down, maybe after going to the street to hawk, when you come back and you want to go into probably rest, then the ship, the wave of the sea has taken the ship inward. So from the pavement that you used to get hold of the ladder, you can't get hold of it. So you have to stay there for hours for the wave to bring the ship back to close to the harbor before we can climb. And sometimes, you know, it takes hours. You might just stay down, sitting down there till like 1 a.m. in the midnight before the wave bring the ship back. Then you have to climb to go in there and sleep. So after a time, we were discovered that people were staying there and all of that. So we were all sent packing. Nobody cares where we go. We just go back. Just you are not supposed to stay here. This is the government property and all of that. So I left again and I had to. But then that was when something good begins to happen for me.
So you met your
Because
coach Sunday
yes,
Nwamuda. Yeah.
Nwamuda.
Okay. So did you meet him when you were on the streets, or did you meet him when you were?
Yes. Actually, every evening I go to the gym. I will just stand by the gates and watch what is going on. So I think he has been seeing me there all the time. I just go there, stand. So he called me, come. What do you like the sport? I said, yes, I like it. Then come and train. And that was how I started training. You know, he welcomed me, and I'm the first female that he has in his gym. He never trained a woman. He said he doesn't like training women. So when I got there, you know, he just liked me up from the start, and that was how the journey has started ever since.
Okay. And you boxed until 2014.
Yes.
2014, and after 15 years of fighting, and you had a couple of professional bouts, is that correct?
Yes. I had a couple of professional bouts. At first, I had a bout here in Lagos. It was just an exhibition bout in a professional bout. Then I got contact from Ghana. There was a coach and a manager in Ghana. It's I think Mike Tete. So someone sent a clip of my fight. So that was how he got interested and invited me to Ghana. So I went to Accra, and after assessment and all of that, I had to go fight in South Africa. So in 2009, I was in South Africa. I fought with one of the rated boxer, Noni Tengi, in South Africa in a 10-round bout. And you know, that was my very first time of fighting a bout that is more than 4 rounds, because I've always been used to 4 rounds bout and all of that. So I had to go 10 rounds. Though I lost the fight because she was a champion and I am just a new boxer. So some records just had to be created so that I can go up there. I had a few professional bouts in it. So after all the fight and everything, and you know, most of the pay wasn't coming in, nothing, it wasn't that encouraging. So I had to quit. But because of the addiction I already have for boxing, I can't just leave totally. So at a point, the boxing, I got a job with the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. So it's a kind of a paramilitary organization, like a policing. Should I say part and arm on the paramilitary forces. So we mostly deal with pipeline vandalism and some other critical infrastructural protection. So I was there and I have a very good relationship with the boss there. So they keep on helping and encouraging me in sports. So that makes me go back into the amateur and fight for the organization for a while. Then when they needed a coach, I had to switch and become the first female coach that the organization will have in boxing. And from then, it has been the coaching career and all that. And my athletes I'm developing some athletes. Some I've been fighting before I met them, and it has been a good thing.
You said your passion now goes into coaching the younger generation, searching for ways to add value, bring new things, and inspire others. And that's a hell of a statement. And it's a beautiful thing considering the location that you live in terms of giving back to somebody else. So what I've done is I happen to have a look through some of your social media feeds, and I came across one or two videos I was particularly interested in, particularly with a group of people that you were training. So one of them was, I love this one, improvising equipment. Okay, so I'll just, in your gym. So I imagine, and I only imagine, that you don't have a lot of equipment, right?
Yes. We don't have equipment. So
yeah,
what I do mostly, yes, what I do mostly is after research, I just improvise. I just start thinking, of, okay, what can I use?
Yeah. So this is the little gym that you train in, and some of these are your in your class. You train these. Yeah. Well, is this you here?
Yes, that's me.
Doing dips in the ring. Okay. Oh, that's cool. And then hold on, I'll just bring that back a little piece. It's super cool because it reminds me, well, there was more equipment in Azerbaijan, but in Azerbaijan, for such a rich for such a rich country that has oil and gas, they didn't have a whole lot of equipment. And what I loved when I worked with the Russians, they would get an old piece of scrap and turn it into something that you could use for boxing. And the drills, whether it was two hammers and stuff like that to work your rotator cuff or whatever it was, I really loved it. And I remember one day complaining to the coach, there's no speed, agility ladders. Coach says, moment. Coach Talibov, Nuri Pash, he comes back to me and he hands me a stick of chalk. Draw on the ground. And I said,
on the ground.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
I said, yeah, okay. And I learned so much from being there. So just tell me, over here you have some equipment, is it? Or just, is it people donate equipment to you just behind you, just here?
So far, we don't have anyone donating equipment to us. What we do mostly, you see, those ones behind are the used equipment that have spoiled totally. You know, they are out of use, so we just put them there. So when some of the bags or some of the things we're using got spoiled, so we just take from the old one and patch the new, the used, the one we're using presently, just to make it at least like the bags. When you see, look at the bags we're hanging in this video, you see that some of them are torn. So what we do mostly is we cut from those ones we stack behind to repair the ones we are able to use. So in most cases and you know, most of this equipment, we purchase them. When we go to games, like when we go back from the African games, we had to, okay, every member of that gym, we contribute some money so that we can buy some equipment. Right. The gloves, everything we need to use, we have to buy.
Okay, so I'm going to try another one up here. I love this one. I absolutely loved it. Because you're outdoors, you've hung a bag from some posts you've erected. I don't know where the location of that is, right? But again, it reminds me, not so much the background in a different way of just using what you have, but you're training a female boxer. You're doing some focus pads with a female boxer.
That female boxer, the very one in this video, she won a bronze medal at the African Games.
Right, okay, for Nigeria.
For Nigeria, yes. Because she won a bronze medal.
Okay. Right, because I was just looking at this. I love this. She's got speed, but she leaves her head up a lot.
Yes, her head up a lot. She raises the head up. So we are trying to use some work on focus pad to do some corrections and all of that. And the floor wasn't really helping. We had to use it.
Right. Okay. That's amazing. And so I'm going to throw up some pictures. So I'm going to throw up some pictures. And what I'd like you to do is just tell me what the story is behind the pictures that you, so Boxing Federation.
Yes.
Okay.
That is, yeah, the boy in green is me. The boy in green is the one that won the silver medal at the African Games. So silver in this picture, yes, at the African Game is Abdulaziz Oshoba. And the man in the middle is the present Secretary General of the Nigerian Boxing Federation. So in this picture, we were coming back from Cameroon, where I went to get my 2-star AIBA certification. So that was when we were coming back. So we stopped at Uyo, Nigeria. We call it Uyo, in Akwa Ibom State. So that was when we took that picture.
Okay, how about this one?
Yeah, this one is a good one. This is the National Sports Festival in Abuja. That was 20.
You look like you have fun with your team.
Yes. I'm done with my team. And that is the end of the game. So we won 9 medals. The man putting on the old medal is the head coach here in Ogun State. It's Sunday Michael, and I'm right there with him. So we have some other ones that I took with the boxers, putting on the old medals and so heavy on my neck.
Okay, give me this one. What's happening here?
Okay, this one is the professional boxing and the Go TV when they're having the next gen where they pick talent. It's the kind of talent hunt that they do. So they pick new talent to go into professional bout. So we just ended the event, and one of my boy here won came third in the selection. So we're just there celebrating him.
All right, I got another one for you. I'm going to throw it up there now in a sec. All right, it's with the national team. Okay.
Yeah, that's the national team. Yes, that's the national team, and that is the hostel, the boxing hostel. So
okay, so
we were preparing for.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you.
We were in camp for the Commonwealth Games. So and then we have about
the Gold Coast.
Games,
yeah. Yes. Okay.
We have 32 boxers in camp.
Right. 32. And so,
yes, so that's where we are.
Are any of those boxers being paid? Do they get paid?
No. What really happens? What they do here is some states. Some are employed by state sports council. So, but very few. The numbers of those who had employment with states are very few from those who had no job. Right. We have some very good boxers who have no job whatsoever that had to eat from hand to mouth. But some of those boxers, like in this picture, we have about I think about 8 to 10 of them who are employed, who has a job from state, and some are with the Nigerian Army, some are with the Civil Defense, and some are with the Nigerian Police.
Okay, and so where do they stay when they come into camp?
Well, we have a boxing hostel where all the boxers where we stay for camping. That is when there is a major national competition.
Okay.
So they get everyone. They have to put two people in a room and we stay there. And in the camping period, there is always food available. The government provides food, three square meals, and from allowances, daily allowances. In most cases, just 1,000 naira, which is less than $2, just about $2 per day. So that's what they get for staying in camp and training. So we, the coaches, so some of us were invited to the national camp because you can only go to the national camp on invitation. So go into the national camp if you're invited and you train the athletes.
Right. So I was curious. Yeah, I was curious because I know, like, we have an advantage here to some degree in the sense that the high performance teams or the high performance model is supported and financed, and then all the athletes that are in the high performance, the most of the athletes that are in high performance in the high performance unit are on a wage so they can sustain themselves through the year, but they're in camp the whole year, not just in and out of camp. So it's an advantage for them, as is the Cubans, as is the Russians. They're in camp 12 months of the year and only go home for periods. So, yeah. So that's an advantage.
The longest camping we've had in the recent time is the camping for the Commonwealth Games, which was 4 months. We were in camp for 4 months. The African Games, we were in camp for, was it up to 2 months to prepare for the African Games? And that is how it has always been. I think the longest camp that I have been to in recent time is the Commonwealth camp, which takes us 4 months. And after 4 months after the game, everyone goes back to their various homes. Nobody even gives you a welcome address.
Okay. So I have a question for you. I heard you have a reputation of being a strong woman. Is this true?
Very true.
Okay.
I hope to believe so.
And I heard sometimes that some people, they would call you the judge. What's that about? Yeah, what's that about?
I think this is and the part, it's a kind of online psychological test. But most of the time, when you look at this thing, it is true, because I'm more of a mediator in my state where I stay among my people. Because when there are issues, when there are problems, I'm the kind of a go-to person that quickly had to resolve the issue and make sure we have a calm.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, right. Okay. So now I got that one. Okay. So, right. And I get that from you. You have a really strong personality because, in all the years I met you first, I think it was in 2018 was the first time that I got to meet you, right? 2018. And that was at the Commonwealth Games. You were sitting in on the cook course in the Gold Coast. And I had no clothes except the ones I was wearing, because when I arrived, right, all my luggage had gone. And I'd landed on the plane, but they misjudged the times. So I thought, and they thought initially, that I was supposed to do the course the next day because I'd only arrived on the plane and I hadn't slept. So I'd no sleep for 22 hours or 26 hours actually. And then I arrived and they said, you must go to do the course. And I said, the course is tomorrow. And they said, no, it's today. So that day I did the course. It was it was a day and a half sleep deprived. And I remember I was ordering coffee every 5 minutes to stand on my feet so I could actually deliver the course. But when I was doing the course, the thing that lit me up, the thing that I was paying attention to, and I always watch, is how people interact. So when I give them a task to do or doing something or a drill to carry out, I just see how they interact, see if they take charge of it, see how they control the situation and stuff. And you stood out in my mind. I was just watching it, kind of get, yeah, okay. And I took notes and I said, right, okay, that one, I tick the box and I'll keep an eye on that one. So I just asked, what was your name? And I got the name of one of the officials in the back. And I says, okay, I'll keep that one. Because I just knew you had a strength of character that would be compatible with the type of work you do in back of house. You know what I mean? And it's hard work. People don't get it. They don't get it. It's hard work. Okay, when you just graduated from the cook course, the AIBA cook course, and there were 2 other African girls who were physiotherapists, but they didn't hold any coaching stars, so they couldn't work on the field of play. So you were the first African woman really as a cut technician. I hate the term. It's ridiculous. You were the first cut woman. You were the first cut woman. And you were the first cut woman, African cut woman, to ever walk the corner in terms of, you know, I haven't seen any other African woman do it. So not an international AIBA competition anyway. And if you remember then, I got to see you doing your thing. And what I do is I always take short videos, and what I try to do is bring it back and show the person. Do you remember this?
Yes, I remember.
And so my job is from the back of house on the field of play. But for some reason, they've cut the field of play off and they've made us into glorified commissioners in the back rooms, which is half the role of what we do. But at the time, I remember in the Commonwealth Games, I was working the field of play on the back of house, and I remember watching you work. So can you tell me what happened to the guy you're treating?
It has a laceration at the upper lobe here, so I had to quickly, and you know, quick aids. You came with some quick aids, so which was given to us.
And then I got to see you doing your thing, and I think that was in I think that was later in the African Games in Rabat in Morocco. I got to see you do your thing.
So when the cut happened, the coach was like putting so much water. I said, "Coach, no, just hold on. I had to stop the bleeding." And I was able to just fend off his hand with my elbow from water splattering on the injury. So I had to use quick aid to quickly stop the bleeding, and the bleeding stops, and the guy was able to finish the bout.
You know, the beautiful thing about Quick Aid is they've been supporting events on AIBA competitions since 2017. And they have given thousands of dollars worth of hemostatic agents, the actual strips that you use on the injuries. And they've donated that to us to give to people like you and other countries who only have towel and water in the corner. And I want to talk about this because this to me as an official, right, as an Irish person, right, we love the underdog. Okay, we've always been big into the underdog because we were the underdog for a long, long time, our country. We love to see other people who aren't the favorites getting an opportunity to step up and get some light and see the sunshine and have a good time with that. But I always remember this. The thing I loved about the opportunity to introduce Quick Aid to the back of house to developing nations is because you guys and girls are turning up with towel and water in comparison to a Western country on Rule 1623 that you can use adrenaline, thrombin, microfibrillar collagen, jello foam, Surgicel, dehydrators, multipliers, all of that. Some of them cost up to $300 a pop. And then you flip right across the other side of the ring in the other corner, developing nation, and they only have towel and water. Now, the whole ethos for us, supposedly in the Olympic family, is a level playing field. And that used to just eat me. I used to say, it's not level. How could it be level? How could it be level when you got two corners? One has towel and water and the other one has all of these things. So, and then Quick Aid stepped up and supported us, and they donated product for you guys and girls. So it was just, you know, sometimes it was just nice to be able to give, to kind of level it out so that, you know, you know, those countries, so countries like developing nations and stuff like that would have the opportunity to service injuries using quality products, not just towel and water.
I really want to thank them, thank Quick Aid so much. And I pray that they will continue to move forward and forward forever.
You know, it's such a nice thing to do for other people, particularly when they don't have access to some of those products. And I always remember I was teaching a cut course in Cameroon. And when I looked out at the room, I realized, how is this going to be of benefit to anybody sitting in this room? I had to think about it. me doing this, what does it actually mean? Will they benefit from any of this? And I just thought to myself, well, what I can do is teach them how to stop bleeding with whatever materials that they have. And then I started to ask them, is there any natural products in your own country that you use to stop bleeding? And so when I got that information, then I put it all together and I made this little story from when the time I was in Australia, the time I was in West Coast of America, and just natural products that Native American Indians would have used, the Aborigine in Australia would have used, in African. One of the most amazing things I ever seen was an African nation's doctor using the inside of an egg to put over an open wound. I thought that was like, wow.
And when there is a nosebleed in this place, you know what we use? We use scent leaf. You know scent leaf? We take scent leaf, and we squeeze it and put it in the nose to stop bleeding.
Stop the bleeding. Right, okay. I'll have to check that out because I'm fascinated by that stuff. It really is interesting. It really is interesting. And so I'm going to bring you back to just the Olympics before we finish off. So you're just back from the Olympics. Hold on. You just made history, being the first ever African, or the first two females to ever set foot inside back of house as cut technicians. So historical occasion.
You know, the experience is so wholesome that I don't really know how to describe it. It is so fascinating. It's such a beautiful experience. I don't really know how to put it. I'm just so excited about the whole thing because, you know, meeting so many countries, so many nations being represented in the Olympics, and you being one of the first contacts with them at the back of house, doing some hand wraps for countries who don't have a cut technicians, signing every hand wraps before it goes to the equipment manager to get the gloves. You know, the roles feel so important, and I feel so good meeting so many people. And you know, the tension you see on the faces of the boxers before they go into the ring, and the joy that comes with them whenever they come back to the back of house after victory. Oh, so it's so interesting, so beautiful.
I knew you would like it, but I knew there were parts of it that would challenge your personality. Like, because you're there to support the teams, but you're also there to police, right? So sometimes, like I was trying to explain to the two of you when you were there, yourself and Marie-Pierre Berchi, right? You know, you have to confront people about how they're behaving or how they're doing or how they're applying hand wraps or whatever that may be. And sometimes those individuals may have really strong personalities, or sometimes those individuals may be really apologetic when you find stuff that they've done illegitimately, right? And they're really apologetic and they beg you, please don't take my credentials, please don't take my credentials. And it's hard to be an official sometimes, but that's what I was saying to you. It would try your personality, it would challenge you. Was that the case?
Yes, was exactly the case. You know, the first few days at the beginning was so challenging because you see so many stacking on the knuckle, you know, packings of hand wraps. And sometimes I am just glad that most of it we detect before they go into the ring. You know, because I don't know how I will feel. I don't know if I will be able to handle it if they have been able to make use of that hand wrap before I detect it. But most of it, I cut it right on time. And most of the hand wrap, I have to cut it off. You know, most of the coaches will come and I said, no, the disciplinary actions has to be taken against you. But at the start, I discovered something with about two countries that they really think that is the norm. I think that is how they do it in their country. The hand wrapping, they had to put tapes and everything before they go. Most of them comes from Muay Thai, MMA and stuff. So I think that is some of the things, that is the practice where they come from. So they don't know that it's different in the Olympics. So I had to make them understand that if this occurs again, then I'm going to take it up to the higher authority and you will be sent out from the back of house. So, and they were all very remorseful after explaining to them. And it got to a stage, some countries had to come to me before they start the hand wrap. Please, Mo, check this, check it. Am I doing it correctly? I say yes. So some countries who are very good with the hand wrap, they don't even like it when you police the hand wraps. They were like, the faces, they don't say anything, but the attitude just shows you they don't like seeing you there. But well, I had to stand my ground. So I stood my ground. I watch whatever they're doing. And if it's correct, I don't have to say anything. I just nod my head and I move on to the next wrap. So it is quite challenging the first few days. But as time goes on, everyone has to got to understand what we are trying to do. Because, the athlete's safety is our priority. That is why we are there, to make sure we have a clean and smooth Olympics where everyone will be fair to one another, not you putting something in your hand wraps and winning. That is winning by cheating. I don't think that is fair enough. So, but I'm so glad we're able to detect most of the abnormalities before they get into the ring.
Unfortunately, we have to finish, but I just want to finish on this. You said you would like other women who are passionate about boxing and boxer safety in and outside of the ring to come forward, to be trained, and together we shall continue to put feminine touch into the treatment of injuries in the ring. Okay. I would like to leave with that, because that's a beautiful statement. And there's one thing, like in all the courses that I've done, nearly over 2,000 participants now, like 6% of that population were female, 6%. And I understand why. Yeah, so 6%. So just finishing on that, Mo, I'd like to say thanks for doing this, and it won't be the last time I'll be in touch with you. And before you go, you can, if you want to, say hello or goodbye to anybody, please do so.
I would just like to say thank you. Thank you to you, Joe Clifford. Thank you to Quick Case. Thank you to the BTF, and especially Linda, as I've said earlier, David and Breno, and every member of the BTF that makes possible for me to have the Olympic experience to help us put the feminine touch on the back of the house, which makes it more fun. And I would like to say shout out to Mary Prayer. That she's so wonderful and I love her so much. And thank you so much for doing this with me. And I want to thank the Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense, that is the Dr. Ahmed, Ahmed Audi, because he's doing a wonderful thing for women. And I am sure in the future, not so far away, that I will have a lot to do in the organization. Thank you so much for having me.